The cold gray waters of the Baltic Sea have become the stage for a tense and shadowy conflict, one that is unfolding far from the world's attention, but with consequences that could ripple across continents. It's not a war of trenches or dogfights, but a high-stakes game of cat and mouse over sanctions, oil, and the rules of international waters. Here, the weapons are not just missiles or warships, but economic pressure, legal maneuvering, and the constant threat of escalation. Russia has unleashed a shadow fleet, a ghostly armada of tankers moving oil in defiance of Western restrictions. These ships, often old and barely marked, slip through fog and darkness, their routes shrouded in secrecy, their cargoes vital to Moscow's war chest. Now this fleet faces its greatest challenge yet, as Western navies and intelligence agencies step up their efforts to intercept, monitor, and disrupt these clandestine operations. Each day brings new reports: Russian vessels making suspicious maneuvers near undersea infrastructure, NATO warships shadowing tankers, fighter jets roaring overhead. The tension is palpable, with every encounter carrying the risk of miscalculation. These incidents are part of a coordinated Western effort, led by France, to tighten the screws on Moscow. The Baltic has become a proving ground for new tactics and alliances, as NATO partners share intelligence and coordinate patrols. The Baltic Sea, once a corridor of commerce, is now a front line of hybrid confrontation with global consequences. Merchant ships now sail alongside warships, and the line between civilian and military activity grows ever thinner. This is about more than ships passing in the night. It's economic warfare, and a test of NATO's resolve to enforce sanctions and protect its members. The stakes are not just regional but global, as the world's energy flows and security architecture are put to the test. Advanced spy ships and surveillance drones have turned the sea into a chessboard, every move scrutinized. Intelligence analysts pore over satellite images and radar data, searching for patterns and warning signs of escalation. The stakes are high. Disruptions to Russian oil could impact global energy prices, sending shockwaves through markets from Europe to Asia and beyond. Every barrel that slips through the blockade is a blow to Western sanctions, and every interception risks a dangerous confrontation. And any military miscalculation risks a wider conflict. A single incident, a collision, a misfired warning shot, could spiral into something far more serious, drawing in nations and alliances. The world is watching to see who blinks first in this escalating maritime drama. Newsrooms track every development, and governments weigh their next moves with caution. For the public, it may seem distant, but the ripples are already being felt worldwide. From rising fuel costs to shifting alliances, the impact of this standoff is real and growing. The Shadow Fleet's fate will help define the future of international security and economic stability. Decisions made here will echo in boardrooms and parliaments, shaping the world's response to future crises. This is why the story matters. It's not just about ships and sanctions, but about the balance of power in a rapidly changing world. The outcome here could reshape the global order, setting precedents for how nations confront economic warfare and defend their interests on the high seas. So, what exactly is the Shadow Fleet, and why has it become so crucial in today's geopolitical landscape? It's a clandestine armada of over 600 aging oil tankers, many of them rusting and past their prime, hidden behind layers of shell companies and flags of convenience. These ships operate outside the reach of standard Western insurance and oversight, making them nearly invisible to regulators. Their mission is clear: keep Russian oil flowing to global markets, no matter the obstacles, and bypass the strict Western sanctions imposed after the invasion of Ukraine. These tankers often go dark, deliberately switching off their tracking systems to evade detection by authorities and satellite surveillance, and conduct secretive ship-to-ship transfers far from prying eyes, sometimes in international waters where enforcement is weak. This shadowy network is more than just a logistical workaround. It's Russia's financial lifeline, generating billions in oil revenue that fund its war effort and help stabilize its embattled economy. But there's a dark side. Many of these ships are poorly maintained, increasing the risk of catastrophic oil spills and environmental disasters in the fragile Baltic ecosystem, where a single accident could have devastating consequences. Western intelligence agencies are also on high alert, fearing these vessels could be used for sabotage, targeting undersea cables, pipelines, or other critical infrastructure, and potentially disrupting global communications or energy supplies. For Russia, the Shadow Fleet is more than just a means of moving oil. It's a tool of defiance, resilience, and survival in the face of mounting international pressure. For NATO and its allies, Dismantling or disrupting this fleet has become a top strategic priority, as they seek to tighten the sanctions regime and protect their own interests. The stage is set for a high-stakes confrontation in the Baltic Sea where the world will be watching to see who blinks first. France has made a bold and calculated move, deploying its state-of-the-art intelligence ship, the Dupuy de l'Homme, to the Baltic for the very first time. This deployment signals a significant escalation in the region's intelligence operations, as France steps up to play a pivotal role in monitoring the tense waters of the Baltic Sea. Unlike traditional warships bristling with weapons, the Dupuy de l'Homme is a floating fortress of electronic surveillance. It's equipped with cutting-edge technology designed to intercept, decode, and analyze Russian communications, radar signals, and electronic emissions, making it a silent but powerful observer in the ongoing standoff. The ship's arrival is a strategic masterstroke, giving NATO and its partners unprecedented insight into Russia's shadow fleet, military escorts, and their maneuvers. Its presence sends a clear message: the days of operating unseen in the Baltic are over. With its advanced sensors and real-time data links, the Dupuy de l'Homme strips away the fleet's anonymity. NATO can now track ship movements, anticipate Russian actions, and document sanction violations as they happen, closing critical intelligence gaps. The intelligence gathered doesn't stay on board. It's rapidly shared with regional allies, enabling coordinated responses, joint planning, and swift interventions when needed. This seamless flow of information strengthens the alliance's collective security. France's initiative acts as a force multiplier, transforming previously fragmented national efforts into a unified NATO strategy. The alliance now operates with greater cohesion, clarity, and confidence in the face of Russian maneuvers. The Shadow Fleet, once able to slip through the fog of war, now operates under constant scrutiny. Evasion and deception have become far more difficult, as every move is watched and recorded. With the Dupuy de l'Homme on station, the balance of power in the Baltic is shifting, ushering in a new era of transparency, deterrence, and strategic advantage for NATO and its allies. France's spy ship is just one part of a broader NATO effort to blanket the Baltic with surveillance. Estonia has become assertive, attempting to detain Shadow Fleet tankers suspected of sabotage. Poland, too, has responded forcefully, intercepting Russian vessels near critical infrastructure and investing in surveillance drones to protect its coastline. The EU is expanding its sanctions list, making it nearly impossible for Shadow Fleet ships to find support in European ports. These measures turn the Baltic into a gauntlet for Russia's tankers, raising the risk and cost of every voyage. Every suspicious movement is now tracked. Every attempt to approach infrastructure is challenged. The net is closing, ship by ship. The Baltic is no longer an open highway for sanction busters. Russia isn't backing down. Instead, it's escalating militarily. After Estonia tried to detain a tanker, Russia scrambled a fighter jet into NATO airspace to protect it, a dangerous new phase. Russia has detained foreign tankers in retaliation and launched massive naval drills, practicing for conflict scenarios. Most notably, Russian warships now directly escort Shadow Fleet tankers through the congested Gulf of Finland, daring NATO to intervene. This raises the stakes. Any NATO attempt to inspect a tanker risks direct confrontation with Russian forces. The situation is volatile. One miscalculation could trigger a wider conflict. Russia is betting its military muscle will deter the West. But every encounter is now a potential flashpoint. The region is closer to the brink than ever. NATO's crackdown is hitting Russia's oil exports where it hurts, its wallet. The Baltic is now a perilous obstacle course, forcing Russia to consider longer, costlier shipping routes. Insurance and freight costs have soared, eating into profits and straining the Shadow Fleet's aging vessels. EU sanctions make it nearly impossible for these ships to access repairs or supplies in Europe, isolating them further. The goal makes sanctions evasion so expensive and risky that it's no longer worth it. Every extra dollar spent on shipping or insurance is a dollar less for Russia's war effort. The economic squeeze may prove more decisive than military standoffs. The financial battle is relentless, and just as critical as the one at sea. As tensions rise at sea, the diplomatic war of words intensifies. Russia accuses NATO and the EU of illegal blockades and piracy, framing itself as the victim of Western aggression. Moscow's rhetoric is sharp, warning it will respond harshly to any interference with its shipping. These threats are backed by visible military presence, warships and jets on constant patrol. The West rejects Russia's claims, insisting it's enforcing legitimate sanctions in response to aggression. This fundamental disagreement leaves little room for compromise, pushing both sides to the edge. The battle of narratives hardens positions and raises the risk of miscalculation. The hybrid conflict is as much about perception as it is about power. The Baltic Sea standoff is balanced on a knife's edge, with the world watching. One scenario: further military escalation, where a single misstep could trigger direct conflict between Russia and NATO. Another: Western pressure succeeds, forcing Russia to reroute exports, shifting the problem, not solving it. Or, a tense new status quo emerges: daily standoffs, a militarized Baltic, and perpetual instability. This is more than a regional dispute. It's a test of the international order and the power of sanctions. The outcome will signal whether alliances like NATO can enforce rules without war. For the region, it's about security and stability. For the world, it's a test of collective resolve. The silent battle in the Baltic is shaping the future. Its waves will reach every shore. The next move could change everything.